In this section, cleaning with an X-Jet, we will demonstrate how to use the X-Jet and that it is an alternative method to cleaning with a downstream injector. So let's get started.
Okay, the last method I'm going to show you today is using the X-Jet M5. It allows you to adjust from a fan spray to a long distance spray. We're going to be pulling the chemical straight out of the bucket, unlike downstreaming or batch chemical mixtures. This actually comes right out of the bucket right here. So we're going to demonstrate that on this section of the house.
In conclusion to cleaning with the X-Jet, we demonstrated how to use an X-Jet M5 that has a variable spray pattern. I would recommend using this because you can reach heights, you can get wide areas, do closer to the ground. So the X-Jet M5 is an alternative to using a downstream injector. In this section, cleaning with a diaphragm pump, we will demonstrate how to use a diaphragm pump and that you don't always need a power washer and a downstream injector to do a house wash. So let's get started.
Okay, so now that we've showed you my company's preferred method for washing houses, which is downstreaming, we're going to show you an alternative method using the 12-volt Maverick system. It is a direct applicator, which means we're pulling it straight from a batch tank. No extra water is introduced. We pre-mix it before we start. We will follow this up by rinsing with our pressure washer.
In conclusion, to cleaning with a diaphragm pump, we demonstrated that you don't always have to have a power washer and a downstream ejector to do the cleaning, but that you can also do it with a diaphragm pump. You can even rinse with the diaphragm pump. It's not really the preferred method because you can go a lot faster with the power washer, but you've seen the alternative method and now you can apply it. In this section, cleaning with the downstream ejector, we will demonstrate how to use the downstream ejector, how to create the mix to be used with the downstream ejector, and how to clean hard to reach areas.
So now we're back at our downstream tank. This is where we pull the chemical to wash the house. This contains our bleach and water mixture right now. We like to add the soap when we get to the job. We use fresh wash. And we simply just pour it in our measuring cup. We generally use between 1 and 3 ounces of this, depending on how much stick we need, how dirty the property is. And now this tank is ready for us to downstream out of. Now that we've wet down the glass and the plants for this section of the house that we're about to start washing, the next step would be for us to go drop our downstream injector pickup tube into our house washing tank. One of the key little extra pieces of equipment we like to carry is an extension pole with a brush on it. A lot of times, especially dealing with stucco, you'll have heavily stained areas that may require multiple applications, or you could just save yourself a bunch of time and go ahead and just brush some of your house wash mix straight onto it to clean it up.
In conclusion to cleaning with the downstream injector, we demonstrated how to use the downstream injector, creating a mixed solution to be used with the downstream injector, and that using a downstream injector is probably the best way to apply a house wash mix, and then how to clean hard to reach areas.
Section review. Apply chemical in sections. Work back towards your truck. Allow chemical to dwell on the surface for at least 15 minutes. A bucket and brush can be used to apply mix directly to problem areas.
In this section, rinsing the back of the house, we'll talk about how to rinse and touch-ups and addressing stubborn stains.
It usually takes between 10 and 15 minutes for us to work in sections of the house, which is ideal because that's the dwell time we need for our house washing solution to work. We're now going to go back to the house wash solute tank, remove the pickup tube that's hooked to the downstream injector so we can have fresh water to rinse with. We're also going to need to clear the 200 to 300 foot of pressure washing line that still has our house wash mix in it. We use it to touch up any minor spots before we start rinsing. It allows us to clear the line while we're getting to the fresh water without wasting any of our house wash mixture.
In conclusion to the section rinsing the back of the house, you learned how to rinse from the top down, and as you clear your line, to use that chemical to reapply to stubborn stains. And if those stubborn stains aren't removed with an additional application, then to use a brush and a stronger mix to help take those stubborn stains off.
So on the back of the house, we use the Maverick 12-volt system. And now on the front of the house, we're going to demonstrate the gasoline-powered diaphragm pump Stallion skid.
Section review. The Deluxe Stallion is a gas-powered soft wash machine for low-pressure cleaning. The higher flow rate and pressure helps the Stallion reach peaks. Watch out for tripping hazards while working. Watch for runoff that could stain driveways, decks, or patios. Good communication with your team members can help prevent mistakes and accidents.
Today my brother Dalton is going to be the ground man on this roof washing job. We always recommend to have two people, one rinsing and one washing the roof. Dalton will be using an 8-gallon per minute pressure washer for our rinsing because it is faster and more efficient. You can also do this with a garden hose though. We also use this to rinse down decks like this to protect them from any overspray and spotting. Today we're going to be washing this roof with Powerwash.com's Maverick system. It is on a skid and it is a 12-volt pump with a Titan reel on top. Also comes with ag hose and a gun. This is going to be pulling from our batch tank which we have already mixed with bleach, water, and our sappet. A lot of times while we're treating these roofs, we'll have heavily stained areas that will leave behind a yellow residue. Most of the time this can be taken care of simply by retreating. It is a good idea to go ahead and let your client know this ahead of time, that there may be a little bit of yellow residue left behind. That is the dead algae, and the next rain should just wash it right off for them.
Section review. The Deluxe Maverick is a 12-volt soft wash machine for low-pressure cleaning. It draws chemical directly from the batch tank. When applying chemical, spray the bottom of the roof first to help prevent runoff. The ground man should stay close to the roof washer to keep all vegetation and sensitive surfaces wet throughout the process. Use an assassin nozzle to reach the peak of the roof. Work in sections to clean a little bit of the roof at a time. Ladders can help you reach valleys and behind chimneys. Ladder standoffs can help stabilize your ladder. A fan nozzle will help you cover large areas quickly. A-frame ladders can help you reach over vegetation. Some areas may need more than one treatment. Be sure to let your client know that some yellow residue may be left behind. This yellow residue is the remains of the dead algae. It will usually wash away with the next rain.
Now, this is the open side. This is going to be wrapped a little bit different than the closed side. So, we always want to make sure our corner is secured. You want the plastic up over and around the hood, so the water coming down out of the corner and where the drip pan is supposed to be is pretty secure and it goes to your waste barrel. So, get my plastic. Pay a little bit detailed attention to this plastic right here in the corner. I want to make sure it's up and over. Now when I'm doing my sides, I like to watch my funnel. I like to watch the angle of the plastic going to my waste barrel. So I raise it or lower it to spec. Okay, this is kind of a low area. So I want to raise it up a little bit more to create that angle down into my waste barrel. So that's about good right there. Put a magnet, secure it. And I'm going to come around my front 6 to 8 inches. Okay, I say 6 to 8 inches for one reason. Everyone wraps these different. Some people come all the way around right here and create a closed off funnel. But in our company, it's easier to get into the corners and the actual grease contaminated areas if you stop about 6 to 8 inches and it collects the water that's coming down off the front of the hood.
Phil Ackland Training is designed and developed to allow new business owners, entrepreneurs, people looking for a better opportunity for themselves and family to get all the training and certification necessary to run a kitchen exhaust cleaning business.
Boy, it's intense. You learn a lot. It's a camaraderie that you can certainly feel that you're part of a fraternity.
I very much enjoy the Phil Ackland training. I knew a lot about exhaust cleaning, but he filled in a lot of gaps where I had a lot of questions and I didn't have anybody that I could really talk to. A lot of other vent hood cleaning companies don't seem to even know the types of information that was given through this course.
Phil Ackland training definitely gave me all the information I need and probably more information than I need. So I feel confident going back to my job.
This training gave me a lot of knowledge that I didn't have beforehand. There's a lot of ignorance in this industry as far as cleaning hoods. It's not just cleaning hoods. There was a lot of information that I was unaware of, and it really helped with that.
The most valuable thing that you get here is the relationships you develop, not only with the instructors of the course, the guest speakers that we have, the people we introduce you to find solutions as you are building your company.
Our biggest issue has been how to properly wrap hoods. I haven't had a lot of luck not having a leak somewhere or a bubble pop up, and they showed us verbatim how to actually remove the possibility of having these bubble buildups and having leaks out of the back ends.
The biggest benefit I got from this class was the process, the process of how to do things right the right way.
For me, the most beneficial part of the training was doing the hands-on portion. So being inside the kitchen, wrapping the hoods with plastic, using the pressure washers, things like that.
Most valuable part of the training was, other than the knowledge that I've gained out of it, was the social connections. So now I've got a resource that I can draw from for all kinds of information.
Everything was valuable about the training. Just the realization as to how many codes and rules and regulations are out there that I had no idea.
The whole process is developed to make sure you leave here knowing what you're doing.
I don't think you're going to lose any money by spending a week here. I think that in the long run, if you don't take this course, the likelihood of you missing out on opportunities in the future is going to be a lot more costly than just going to the class.
Phil Ackland Training has given me all of the tools and skills that I'm going to need to be successful in restaurant hood cleaning.
Phil Ackland Training is going to give you what you need to get the edge on the competition.
This has been one of the best training courses that I've experienced. Being here in the 5 days, I've enjoyed everything from the beginning and the introduction of the vocabulary and the lecture, the videos, and the hands-on, which is tremendous for me.
If you bring a good attitude, a willingness to study, and just a little bit of experience, you can go home prepared to pretty much be dominant in your area. It is definitely worth the investment. I would recommend it to anybody that's willing to bring those things.